Hello everyone, it's Rocco the Cringe with another 4th edition Dungeons & Dragons video. Today I want to talk about Heroes of the Fallen Lands. This is a Dungeons & Dragons Essentials player's handbook, basically. I mean, you got close to 370 pages, very dense writing, and tons and tons and tons of info. I don't want to bore you with the minutia, but let's see. Okay. This here, all the rules you need to learn about how to play the game. And you know, they didn't put anything in this book about how to roleplay your character, because they figured you knew how to do that. And, of course, that's when the internet exploded, because it's like, it's not a role-playing game. But I can tell you, it is. It very much is a role-playing game. Despite what people think about it, this is really a role-playing game. I think I did some of my most favorite role-playing in this game. It's probably why I'm such a fan of it. Anyway, just to show you some cool art. That dwarf's getting burned. There's a ladrin. You can tell by her pupilless eyes. She's pushing them all back. Pretty good. That was something that 4th edition had a lot of, was push, pull, and slide attacks. Alright, and there's Howard Lyons, elven woman, fighting a probably evil wizard. She doesn't look evil, does she? I don't think so. Anyways, there's classes in this book. You have the cleric, the fighter, the rogue, and the wizard. Now, there's a type of cleric in this book called the war priest, and he can use either the storm or sun domains. Sorry, I had to itch my neck. The fighter, there's 2 different fighter roles. The one is a knight, and he's a defender. And then there's the slayer, which, as you can assume, that's a striker. He dishes out huge damage. There's your rogue, and you know what he is. He's a glass cannon striker. And there's a type of rogue you can make with this book called the thief. And with the wizard, they call them controllers in this edition of the game. And they control the battlefield with their spells and stuff. And there's a type of wizard you can make in this book called the mage. And he has a real spell book, like 5th edition mage does. And they offer you a lot of different abilities and powers that you can learn. And he gets to learn them all. I'm just going to show you, like, this is the difference between 3rd and 4th, really. They tell you, why do you want to play this class? This is what it does. Why would you like to play it? And then they give you all kinds of information. Here's your war priest, how to create one, your domain and your deity. This is your basic rundown. This is everything you get as a first, well, not everything you get, but this is just like your skills and your weapon proficiencies, armor, your defenses and all that. And they give you all kinds of fluffy and, you know, good reasoning behind this stuff. And there's that Eladrin woman again. You got your storm and sun domains. And, it, you know, over here it talks about what races make good war priests. There's Fallon of Nenlast. Almost positive there's a book or 2 written about this guy. Anyways, it tells you how you should put your ability scores. Gives you what skills might be good for you. And, you know, quite a bit on what kind of skills. And it's, you know, it talks about, like, it'll help build out your backstory by what skills you know. Then you know your powers, choose a feat, It also says, like, a feat can really, like, show where you spent your youth. You know, if you have more weapon proficiencies, maybe you were a soldier, and you get 100 gold to buy your equipment. It tells you how to calculate your defenses, give your guy an alignment, his height, weight, age, all that stuff. And then here's the table. This is a first level. War Mage gets all of these abilities, plus his domain abilities, and Healing Word right here, which is a basic healing power. Alright, so here's the same deal with the Knight. You have a martial fighter, or a martial defender, and a martial striker. Why would you like to play this class? And then it talks all about, like, what fighters are. And it explains that they use more basic attacks than powers. Which, you know, was a big hue and cry when 4th edition was launched. The wizard and the fighter had the exact same amount of powers per day. That pissed off wizard players, and it made fighter players very happy. Go figure. So this is the Knight at first level. This is a lot of the stuff he gets. They go over the races that would be good at this. How to do your ability scores, your skills. There she is. And there's this guy. He's in one of the earlier pieces of artwork too. So here's the heroic knight, and this is what makes him a defender. He's got this aura. Takes a minor action for him to start it. A minor's kind of like a bonus action. It says you activate an aura 1 that lasts until you end it as a minor action or until you fall unconscious. While in the aura, any enemy takes a -2 penalty to attack rolls when it makes an attack that does not include you, or when it doesn't include among its targets either you or another ally when using this aura. And it says marked enemies are not subject to this aura. And look at this. +1 to hit with all weapon attacks. And a free shield finesse, which means he doesn't take an armor check penalty from his finesse, or from his shield. That's pretty good stuff. Now here's the Slayer. Look at that guy. This doesn't harken to Games Workshop, Dwarven Slayers. I don't know what does. Now, of course, they don't wear armor because, you know, they want to die in battle. But here's, you know, the basics. How to create one. The races that are good at it. Half orc. Yeah. Ability scores. You get your skills. Class features. Feats. Talks to you about, you know, how to make a more enduring character. Equipment. Buy the best armor you can. Get a big weapon. And then they are either really good with the great axe or the great sword. And there are different powers you get as you go through, depending on which one of those you use. There's this guy with his great sword. Here's your heroic slayer table for level 1. He has his weapon talent. But heroic slayer, this is how you get extra damage, because he's a striker. The strikers have to do extra damage. And he gains a bonus to the damage rolls of weapon attacks. The bonus equals his dexterity modifier. And he gets a +1 to hit with all weapon attacks. And you get 2 stances, and the stances are at will. And when you're in this one, you do 2 extra damage. When you're in that one, you know, it's just... And then here's the meat and potatoes of this class. Power Strike. When you hit, you can choose to do more damage or not. And it's pretty cool because you get a choice. You know, you can choose, I don't need it because I rolled really good on damage. But if you didn't, you can choose the Power Strike and do more. And yeah, you just get all kinds of stuff that makes you better at your job as you level up. Alright, here's the Rogue. It's a martial striker. There's why this class is for you. And then it talks all about role-playing these kind of classes. Here's the races that are particularly good suited for it. And there's a piece of artwork you might like. It talks about your ability scores and skills. You know, there's that guy. What kind of equipment to buy. How to calculate your defenses. Here's the good stuff. Sneak attack and backstab. Weapon finesse, first strike, and tricks. So here's your sneak attack. This is how it works. You need to have combat advantage. And you deal the extra damage. And you have to be using a thief weapon. Here's backstab. This is an encounter power that stacks with your sneak attack. And you get +3 to the attack roll. And the enemy takes an extra die 6 if it hits. So you get that die 6 plus these 2 die 6 plus your weapon damage. And then as you level, it gets more too. So you stack these two together, looking at an extra 9 die 6 on a backstab. Weapon finesse, you use your dexterity in place of strength for your attacks with thief weapons. And you get a +2 damage bonus with thief weapons. And then first strike. At the start of the encounter, you have combat advantage against creatures that have not yet acted. So if you win initiative, everything's a target for your backstab and your sneak attack. Then they got all these little tricks about how to maneuver in combat. They're pretty good. So at second level, they get their weapon talent, +1 to hit with thief weapons. So that's all pretty good. But the thing most people liked in this book was the wizard with the mage class. And this is, let's see, 192 to 250 something is all about this class. Because there's tons of powers listed. You have the 3 different schools you can take. Here's good races, the Eladrin. I like that guy. And then there's a dwarf wizard. Maybe they don't suck at it. And then look at all this. This is first level. You get all of that. And I'm telling you, that's a lot. Here's your spell book. You can add spells to it as you go through, but these are your spell memorizations, basically, your spell slots. You start with some cantrips. You get to choose 3 out of these 5 cantrips, and you get Magic Missile. And then you get to choose 2 of these at-will powers. And even if, if you kill another wizard who's got a spell book, you can copy these spells into yours. So even though you only get a couple that are listed here, Burning Hands, anyone? You can add these to your spell book at a later date. And then you get 2 daily powers, Fountain of Flame, Phantom Chasm, Sleep. That's a good spell. Okay, so, and just look, there's tons and tons and tons of spells. Just so much stuff. I mean, Twisting Lightning. There's Time Stop. Delayed Blast Fireball. Meteor Swarm. Then you have your schools, and these are the benefits you get for being a member of the school. You get these powers. I'm telling you, there's tons of powers. And here's the Indomitable Champion, Epic Destiny. Basically, it just says you don't die, and you can't get hit one time. Here's that Dwarven Wizard again. She's holding off all these arrows. And here's the races that are in this book. The Dwarf, Eladrin, Elf, Halfling, and Human. And there's a table. Very handy for each one. But what I really like about this book, it gives you all that, but then like tons of fluff about dwarves. And a nice picture of the male and female of the species. But then, there's this, and physical qualities, attitudes and belief, their communities, the adventurers. And then it talks about dwarven clerics, fighters, rogues, wizards. And then here's a good way to roleplay dwarves. And it gives you a list of names and clan names. And it does this for all the races in here. I just think it's awesome. Your battle cry. People say this isn't a role-playing game. What is this? Anyways, I'm going to cut it off there. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. Let's see. Like, subscribe, those things. This is Rocco the Crins. Long live the Legion.